"When will she stop?" I whispered to my friend under my breath. "When the Earth Star rests in the roof niche of the temple it is climbing," she answered back. "And then?" "On the tripod is a globe on water. In it she will see the destiny of the year, and will tell us. The whiter the water stays, the better for us. It never varies from white. But we must not talk. See, she is stopping." And as I looked back, the dance was certainly ebbing now with such smoothly decreasing undulations that every heart began to beat calmer in response. There was a minute or two of such slow cessation, and then to say she stopped were too gross a description. Motion rather died away from her, and the priestess grounded as smoothly as a ship grounds in fine weather on a sandy bank. There she was at last, crouched behind the tripod, one corner of the cloth covering it grasped in her hand, and her eyes fixed on the shining ground just poised upon the distant run. Keenly the girl watched it slide into zenith, and then the cloth was snatched from the tripod. As it fell it uncovered a beautiful and perfect globe of clear white glass, a foot or so in diameter, and obviously filled with the thinnest, most limpid water imaginable. At first it seemed to me, who stood near to the priestess of Mars, with the beaming spear directly between us and the newly risen world, that its smooth and flawless face was absolutely devoid of sign or coloring. Then, as the distant planet became stronger in the magnifying Martian air, or my eyes better accustomed to that sudden nucleus of brilliancy, a delicate and infinitely lovely network of colors came upon it. They were like the radiant prisms that sometimes flush the surface of a bubble more than aught else for a time. But as I watched, that mosaic of yellow and purple creep softly to and fro upon the globe, it seemed they slowly took form and meaning. Another minute or two, and they had certainly congealed into a settled plan, and then, as I stared and wondered, it burst upon me in a minute that I was looking upon a picture, faithful in every detail, of the world I stood on. All its ruddy forests, its sapphire seas, both broad and narrow ones, its white-peaked mountains and unnumbered islands being mapped out with startling clearness for a spell upon that beaming orb. Then a strange thing happened. Heru, who had been crouching in a tremulous heap by the tripod, rose stealthily and passed her hands a few times across the sphere. Color and picture vanished at her touch like breath from a mirror. Again all was clear and pellucid. "Now," said my companion, "now, listen, for Heru reads the destiny. The whiter the globe stays, the better for us." And then I felt her hand tighten on mine with a startled grasp as the words died away on her lips. Even as the girl spoke, the sphere, which had been beaming in the center of the silent square like a mighty white jewel, began to flush with an angry red. Redder and redder grew the gleam, a fiery glow which seemed curdling in the interior of the round as though it were filled with flame, redder and redder, until the princess staring into it seemed turned against the jet-black night behind into a form of molten metal. A spasm of terror passed across her as she stared, her limbs stiffened, her frightened hands were clutched in front, and she stood cowering under that great crimson nucleus like one bereft of power and life, and lost to every sense but that of agony. Not a syllable came from her lips, not a movement stirred her body, only that dumb, stupid stare of horror at the something she saw in the globe. What could I do? I could not sit and see her soul come out of her at her frightening eyes, and not a Martian moved a finger to her rescue. The red shine gleamed on empty faces, tier above tier, and flung its broad flush over the endless ranks of open-mouthed spectators. Then back I looked to Heru, that winsome little lady for whom, you will remember, I had already more than a passing fancy, and saw with a thrill of emotion that while she still kept her eyes on the flaming globe like one in a horrible dream, her hands were slowly, very slowly, rising in supplication to me. It was not vanity. There was no mistaking the direction of that silent, imploring appeal. Not a man of her countrymen moved, not even Black Hath. There seemed not a sound in the world, it seemed, but the noisy clatter of my own shoe-nails on the marble flags. In the great red eye of that unholy globe, the Martians glimmered like a picture multitude under the red cliffs of their ruined palace. I glared round at them with contempt for a minute, then sprang forward and snatched the princess up. It was like pulling a flower up by the roots. She was stiff and stark when I lay hold of her, but when I tore her from the magic ground she suddenly gave a piercing shriek and fainted in my arms. Then, as I turned upon my heels with her upon my breast, my foot caught upon the claws still wound about that tripod sphere. Over went that implement of 1,000 years of sorcery, and out went the red fire. But little I cared. The princess was safe, and up the palace steps, amidst a low wailing hum of consternation from the recovering Martians, I bore that bundle of limp and senseless loveliness up into the pale shine of her own porch, and there, laying her down upon a couch, watched her recover presently amongst her women, with a varied assortment of emotions tingling in my veins.